You are now listening to Candid Discussions, live on Ripped Radio. Candid Discussions serves you up with the best place to be to discuss love, dating, relationships, and all the obstacles that come with them. Kick back and listen to Kandy and Unrestricted D on Candid Discussions.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Candid Discussion. I am Kandy.
And I'm Unrestricted D.
And we have a special guest tonight.
My name is Donna.
Donna. If you don't know, Candid Discussion is an online radio show where myself and Unrestricted D gets together every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 to discuss topics such as romance, dating, child welfare. What else?
Anything kind of dealing with relationships.
Yes, mostly structured around relationships. Definitely. And tonight's topic is part 2 of the heated ending debate of co-parenting.
Yeah, if you missed that, is it posted on Facebook?
Yes, it's posted on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all go back and
watch the beginning parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it got kind of heated.
We almost co-parent our bonus families together after that show.
You want to do it? We want to do it.
I got to pull it out.
Okay. Well, tonight's guest is Donna Campbell. Donna found her inspiration to write her children's book as early childhood educator and single mother who co-parents. She writes stories in the form of conversation that explains co-parenting any way that a child can understand. Her writings also use proverbs and life lessons to get her point across to the child and the parent. She hopes to inspire parents to evaluate the way co-parents, making sure that their choices are in the best interest of the child. Her main goal is to help give children a childhood they won't have to heal from. Wow. That's
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So now I have a question to ask you. Did you yourself come from a two-parent home?
A mother and a stepfather.
Okay.
And my father, he was there, but then he wasn't there. He didn't come back until I was like late teens.
So you always had a male figure in
Yes.
the household?
Yes.
Okay. So what inspired you to write a book?
So I always wanted to write a children's book, but I never knew what I wanted to write about. And then when I got pregnant and also working in daycare and dealing with children who parents co-parent and seeing how it affected them, I knew I wanted to write about this topic. Because I kind of felt like, one, because I'm a co-parent, two, as a teacher, and seeing the children and seeing what the parents, they may not show the parents, or because me really paying attention to how that child feels. It's like, okay, I'm going to write a book so that I can speak to you the way I want to speak to you, instead of, because I can't do it as a teacher, so I'm going to speak to you this way.
Okay.
So I was going to write a book about it.
And you're still a teacher?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Welcome to the show, Thumper.
I left at 6.
Yes.
How y'all doing? Sorry, work ran a little late.
Oh,
It's okay.
Can I get along?
No.
Because none of my friends have jobs but you.
No.
Oh, okay. So Thumper, this is Donna. Donna, this is
How you doing?
Thumper.
Hi.
Yeah.
She has a book which is in front of our table here.
Called.
My
Mom.
Mommy and Daddy Co-Parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you have a son, daughter? What do you
I have a son.
You have a son. Okay.
Yes.
Do you? But you said you was raised in a two-parent household,
Yes.
but you saw the effects of co-parenting.
Negative co-parenting.
Negative co-parent in the school
In
system?
childcare, yeah.
Childcare, okay. Do you feel like it made a real big what was the ages of the students, if you don't mind me asking?
4.
4.
That's
So-
when they start, because at 3, they're still trying to figure it out. But then at 4, they can like really voice their opinion. They start to, and I'm not saying that 3-year-olds can't, but I didn't notice it until they were like 4.
Okay. So would you say that has So could you tell from their behavior at school and stuff like that, like maybe if something went on at home or just
Yes.
typical 4-year-old behavior?
Yeah, so like a 4-year-old has the words to say how they feel. But a 2-year-old, because I've seen it in 2-year-olds, but the way they react is in their behavior. You can tell when one little boy is with their mother by the way he behaves at school, and then when he's with his father, the way he behaves at school. And every time, you always can tell, like, hey, is mom picking you up today? Okay. Like, you always knew.
Understand. So, the recap from last week, we went on different subjects as far as, what's a little recap?
We were talking about co-parent, and then we moved on to the I ain't gonna say baby mama dated drama, but we moved into with the setting the expectations and things like that for co-parenting.
Oh yeah, so part of what positive structure.
Yes.
One of the biggest ones was structure.
Yeah,
Yes.
structure.
Structure took a minute.
Yeah.
Took a
So
while to get through.
dealing with them kids and dealing with your son, what do you feel about structure? Do you feel like
It's definitely important. I listened in. I heard the conversation last week. It's very important.
like what percentage would you give it?
It's about 80%. Because sometimes things happen and it's okay, like understandable. It's understandable. But then at the same time, there's things that are important. Let's say bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
If my son goes to bed at 8:30 at my house, I would like for him to go to bed at 8:30 at your house. You know, if possible, because there's school and it keeps him in the schedule. And that way I don't have to, on Sunday, try to get him back ready for my week, because I do week on, week off. So I don't want to have to get him back acclimated to my schedule because everything at your house was completely different. Like every single time. Do you know how much time that's going to take?
And that could be, I understand that. Then it could be another effect that if, for my instance, if the mother lets the kids stay up late,
Okay.
and I want them to go to bed. So yeah, I can understand the structure part because they kind of still want to still play and stuff like that, and I'd be ready to lay it down and stuff. So yeah, my son's here tonight.
Yes, I am.
But, and then what else we talked about? We talked about structure, and then we talked about.
We spoke about extensively on why co-parenting is difficult based off of the relationship with the two people that had the child or the children.
Correct.
So that can make it deleterious or successful based off of how they feel about one another.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big one too.
Emotions.
So do you, if you don't mind me asking, are you and your son's father on good terms?
Yes.
Have you always been on good terms?
No, not in the beginning. But that's
beginning
because
like what age range for your child? You said?
from, I say, like the first year. Because within that first year, and we weren't on good terms from the moment I became pregnant until my son was probably, until after we went to court, honestly. Because then when we went to court, there was a foundation laid, and we knew what we had to do, so we just abide by that. But then before then, trying to understand how we communicated with each other, because I can communicate, just because we're talking don't mean you're comprehending. So I can be telling him one thing, and it makes complete, absolute, all the sense in the world, but sometimes I kind of felt like because it was coming from me, he didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's going to be
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just different things like that, but right now we're good.
Okay. So I think we discussed about, when it came to me, myself, when I was growing up, I didn't grow up in a two-parent household, but later on my father tried his best to become a parent, like in my late teenage years. Can you tell a difference between when you're, okay, most parents will say, oh, you may do that at your mama house or daddy house, but you're not going to do that here. Do your son ever display that different?
No, because we're on the same page.
Oh, y'all on the same page?
Yeah, like.
Oh, y'all the Cosby's, huh?
No, when it comes to co-parenting.
Blackies, which one of y'all?
No, but like I can use an example of when I'm guessing, this is just me guessing. Okay. He doesn't know how to be on the furniture at his father's house. Like, he jumps on the furniture. At my house, you're going to get your legs popped because you're not doing that. He respects people furniture. But what he do at your father's house, that's what you do at your father's house, but don't do it here. So it just depends on if it's that serious or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Furniture's not that serious. Just don't do it at my house. If he lets you do it at his house, cool, but not at my house. But other things that will make a difference in his life, we're on the same page about.
So it was, for me, I didn't meet my father till I was 13. And, you know, for some people, some children growing up, they are kind of sort of already, they have their mentality already. They already have how they're going to operate. I met my father relatively young in comparison to some other people, but it was difficult for me when I first met my dad when I was 13 because by 13 I had already experienced a portion of life that a lot of kids don't experience. I had dealt with a lot of hardship, a lot of problems growing up, so I was accustomed to certain things and then I didn't know about certain things. So when he tried to say no to certain things, I'd be like, you should have been saying no since the moment I was born. Then
I
maybe
can see you doing that.
Then maybe it was.
Me too.
I can see it.
Then it wouldn't be an option for you to say it now. But I had a problem with it because he and I bumped heads a lot because I didn't know you. So for you to just come in and just think that because you're my father, you can come in and rule with an iron fist, I had a problem with that. And he and I bumped heads so much because as a dude, I was a pre-dude at that point. I was only 13. But it was really hard because I didn't know you, I didn't respect you, and I didn't like you. And now here you are, because you're my father, I have to listen to you. And I didn't like it, I didn't appreciate it. And more than anything, I didn't understand it. Because my mom, I'm the oldest of 3 boys, and I have 1 older sister. So my expectations were a little bit higher for everyone in the home because I was the oldest guy. And then to come and have another male come in and tell me what I had to do, how things should be done, I'll be looking at you like, can't tell me what to do. Who are you exactly? And why do you feel the need to come into my life now and tell me this is what I have to do, this is how it should be done? Ultimately, now that I'm older, 30 years old, I respect a lot of what he said and how he felt and how he went about things. But at an age like that, you don't have the mentality to think like that. You're like, who are you? So it was very difficult. That aspect of it was like, I wanted to fight every single day.
Yeah, I kind of went through something like that myself. My father, you know, when he come around, he wanted me to say sir. Like what? Like, I want you to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Like, and then my mother, she raised me with respect, but I didn't have to do the ma'am sir type of situation. So when it came down to also with my going over my father's side of the family, my aunts and uncles wanted me to call them aunt such and such. But on my mother's side, we can just say their names. It wasn't a lack of respect for them. It was just the comfortability that I had with them. So I know when I was younger, my Aunt Ann thought I was like Ann. And she was like, boy, don't you call me Ann, I'm your aunt. So you say Aunt Ann. But I don't know, she thought that I didn't respect her as my aunt, but it was just kind of like what I was raised 96% of the time with my mother's side of the family at that point. And then, you know, I come around there when I come around there with my father's side, but it was never a lack of disrespect for it. It was just how I was raised.
Those titles have to be earned. I apologize. No, I don't apologize. I mean that from the bottom of my intellect. Like, that title has to be earned. When I met my father and he was married to his wife, I didn't call her mom for maybe the first year or 2. And it wasn't because I didn't see her as mom. It wasn't like she didn't treat me like her other kids. It was like, I didn't see you as you weren't my mom. I already had a mom. And it is different when you're a child who has so many responsibilities because you're young and you're the oldest boy and you have to do so much. But then after about a year or so, maybe around a year and a half, like, I really started thinking to myself, this lady does a lot for me. There was never an instance where I felt like I wasn't her child. She took me shopping in the same capacity. She fixed my plate. Like, she did everything for me. I just didn't feel like because I was there, I had to call her mom. And the one thing that I appreciated about my father was that he never forced that. He never said, well, you know, this is my wife, I'm your father, you have to call her mom. And my mom and I, my biological mother and I, had that conversation a lot. I think at one point, she actually asked me, did I love her more because she had more? And I was like, no, she can never take your place at all. But that conversation, it was strange because my mom felt some type of way about me calling her mom, but my father never once asked me to. He never said, it's right, this is her house, everybody calls her mom, she considers you her son, so you have to call her mom. But he never pressured me to do it. I just one day decided that I'm gonna call you mom because you treat me like your son. And she called me son. I just never called her mom. I always called her by her first name.
Yeah, when my son called his stepmom mom, that was the last time.
Really?
No, I had the conversation early on too. Like, I'm the mother. I'm mommy. I'm mom. She get a nickname.
So I don't know if this makes a difference, but the vernacular also makes a difference. Like with my mom, I'm like, even though I'm the oldest boy, I'm still a mama's boy to a certain degree. Like, she would always be mommy. I never call my mom like mommy. I mean, I never call her mom. She's always mommy. Like, when I'm being crazy or anything, I call her by her first name. Like when she's not listening to me, I'd be like, Lillian, you're not listening. And then she'd be like, what? And so I call her mommy, like that's mommy. But with my stepmother, I always called her mom. But my mom would always be mommy. Like, I always called her mommy. And I think that made her feel a little bit better about the situation, because calling somebody mommy versus calling somebody ma or mom is a lot different. If anybody feels differently, I don't think nobody would feel
I
differently
always
about
call
that.
my mother mom.
Yeah, he did.
That's just, but my stepmother was just my stepmother. I never got out of stepmother or stepmom or whatever the case may be.
I call my mother dearest.
I can see that.
It pisses her off so much. I'd be like, hi, mother dearest.
I can see
Please stop
that.
calling me that. That's your name.
So, I mean, I don't even know, because if I would have had to call my stepmother mom or something like that, like, it never came up a subject.
Yeah.
I mean, she did say, you know, that's another one of my sons. I mean, but she said that about all my siblings from my father's side, but I just never really was like,
So
number two or whatever.
do y'all think step parents should be able to make decisions in the child's
Definitely.
life?
I do.
I think so.
I believe so.
But I have a
I think
reason why.
you have. I think before you reach the age of 18, before the child becomes an adult and makes a decision and is legally and has the mental faculties to make the decision for themselves, I think the primary biological parents are, if they're able, willing to, and able-minded to do it, then it is the primary responsibility of the biological parents to make the decisions for the child. I think the step parents have the duty to input as long as it's productive, as long as it's for the betterment of the child. But I think they need to do so with the understanding that ultimately it's just an opinion.
Okay, I agree and I disagree. I agree with the parents have to do what they have to do for the child. But I disagree with you saying it's just an opinion, because what happens in my house with me and my husband, we're going to do what has to be done in my home. If my husband's the stepfather, I'm not saying like he can do anything that would be deemed disrespectful to the father, my child's father. So if my child's father has a issue with something that the stepfather is doing, then cool. Like, y'all can talk it out, or I can tell the stepfather, like, he doesn't like when you do this, or he doesn't appreciate this, and then we can go from there. But what happens in my home is what happens in my home, and we're going to make my home flow the way it needs to flow.
So the reason why I disagree with that is because when a step parent, and from experience, and everybody's experiences are different. I can only speak from my perspective. Everyone else here may have had a different opinion, which catapulted their opinion to wherever it is. But when I see that as creating a problem, you can have the opinion, and if the two biological parents agree that the opinions are productive, then we go from there. But it also it also creates a rift in the household where the child is being co-parented at. Because if myself and whoever I had a child with are co-parenting, and then the new person that I'm with has an opinion that's contrary to the biological parent, that creates a rift. That creates a shuffling effect. Okay, well, I'm your husband, I'm your wife, and even though I'm the step parent, it's our responsibility to ensure that the child is taken care of. These are the facts. Yes, it takes a village, but ultimately there should be the two heads of the village. It should be the father and the mother, because they're the ones who created the child, and ultimately they have the say in it. Now, if there is respect all across the board and everybody comes together and we talk about what's best, then okay. But I just don't see it as being, I think it could be counterproductive sometimes.
So,
Go ahead.
so in the case of, let's say, the real father and the stepfather don't get along, then what?
You have to be a man enough to hash it out, because at the end of the day, there's a child involved, and this child needs to be raised by, and if you're going to be my husband, the stepfather, my child's going to be raised by all three of us, then we need to all three learn to get along. And that's just a part of co-parenting. Just like me and my son father had to learn to get along, now it's time for you two to get along.
Does he have a wife or a girlfriend?
Yes, he do. He has a wife.
Both?
He has a wife.
Oh.
I was about to say,
Yes!
No, he has a wife.
So, no, you said he has a wife?
Yes.
So was it difficult for you to allow your son to be kind of around another woman?
So let me just tell you how it went, right? So
Hold on, I want you to be in court tomorrow now.
No.
Okay, all right.
So the first time my son went with his father away from me, I went over there and I said, I want to talk to her in the basement. We went down there. We talked it out. I told her how I felt about everything. I told her I don't want my son left in the house with you, but you can be around my son. No problem. Because I don't know you.
That's
and
fair.
you're just a girlfriend. But once she became the wife, I ain't have no say. That's your wife. You trusted her enough to marry her, so you should trust her enough to take care of your son, our child. So, because he's a musician, so he's working late nights. Who's going to be watching this baby when you're gone? She is. So if she's going to be around taking care of our son because you are at work somewhere, then I have to trust her too and let you know how I feel and just respect how I feel, and we don't have no problems.
So what if the parent or the step parent arbitrarily, like you hear those stories, decide that you send your daughter or a child over somebody's house to the other parent house, you send it over there with a hair braid or however, and you come back and they didn't cut it off.
Cut my child's hair?
That's what I'm just saying. You saying that's what I'm saying. At what point do the other parent or the other step parent has rights?
So hold on, because that happened with me actually.
Yeah.
That actually happened with me. When I was with my mom, I was allowed to grow my hair. I loved my hair. I really did, y'all. And my father did not like my hair, and neither did my stepmom. When my stepmom said cut it, that's when my dad was all on board. My mom was hot. And I was like, it's going to be a problem. But it's like, what can you say? Which is why I say, you don't have to get along to make the best decisions. Like, even with, like, let's say you're in a group of friends. I know it's a little not the same, but you're in a group of friends. Everybody in the group doesn't get along, but everybody gets along enough to make the group work, so to speak.
Oh, I know that type of situation.
So that's the thing too. I don't have to like you. We don't have to like each other, but we're gonna do what's best to ensure that the group succeeds. So I mean, yeah, I really like my hair too.
I don't know. I just kind of feel like you went too far.
I definitely feel like that's
Yeah,
that's kind of
like-
like
I mean,
out
but
the
stuff
box
like
too
that
far.
happens.
And then
It's been on the news several times.
then we're gonna have a problem. Like, your responsibility to take care of the needs of my child. You cutting his hair, that's what something you wanted to do, and that was nah. I think we would have a problem. We would have a
So is
serious
it different?
problem.
So is it a different scenario if you absolutely love your son's hair, your daughter's hair? It is something that you have worked on. You buy the products, you do all this, and the child wants to cut their hair, but you won't let them because they've been so invested. You've been so invested as a parent, and then you go over to the other biological father or the mother with the step parent, and then they express that they hate their hair, they don't like it, and they cut it. Does that create a different opinion because it's what the child wanted?
I think it just depends on the person, because I can only speak for myself. And for myself, if my child was to tell me he didn't like his hair, we would have cut it off at that moment. Because if my child's old enough to make that decision, then I'm going to respect that person's decision. Because while, yes, it's a child, it's still a person with his own opinions and his own self-esteem and how he feels about himself. So I would have cut it anyway. But had I not cut it and he went to his parents' house and they cut it, I think I still would have been okay with it because my child still didn't like his hair. And I'm not going to force him to be stuck with something that he doesn't like. But that's just my opinion.
I agree.
So on my co-parenting with my kids, none of my children's mothers have husbands. Everyone has always been a boyfriend. So I try not to deal with them until I know they're a possible
Long-term.
permanent fixture. You know, at least be around for a minute. But I will ask my kids about, you know, is mommy friend treating you good? You know, whatever the case may be. It's not necessarily that they know how I am about my kids, and then for the most part, I know they don't want the wrath of me, but I know they're not trifling enough to let something happen to my kid. Not saying that anybody just lets anything happen to them kids, but so when it comes to me and my co-parenting, like, I'll ask my kids all the time, "Mom, your friend treating you good? You sure? Anything you want to tell me?" Like, I don't badger them, but I'll make them comfortable enough to, like, they ever hit you? They ever yell at you? I mean, because I just need to know, because it is kind of hard dealing with someone else's kid at first, because I've dealt with many women that had kids, and it was kind of like, you need to beat his ass. So it's kind of like a demeanor, how I would raise my kids will be totally different than how somebody else might raise theirs. So
the whole yelling thing, I kind of feel I have mixed feelings about that, only because yelling does not always mean that they don't care for the child. Like,
Yelling from the step parent?
Right. Yelling
Okay.
does not always mean, because there were plenty of times where my stepmom yelled at me and my dad didn't say anything. And now that I'm grown and I reminisce on those situations, I was wrong because I was occasionally a bad child, and I deserved to get. Occasionally, I was actually a good kid. I was actually a good kid in school. In school, I was a good kid.
From 0 to 1 year old, he was a good kid.
I was a good kid, but when she yelled at me, I didn't feel any differently than when my coaches yelled at me, when my teachers pointed me out in class. These are adult figures that want to see the best in you, but they're of no family relations or ties. If a coach yelled at me, it's because he or she wanted me to do a lot better because they knew my potential. And I feel the same way with step parents, or any parent for that matter. If they yell at you because you messed up and they know that your potential is more than what you're giving, then that shouldn't be something that should be reprimanded. If that, I don't know if everybody, all of you all here are parents. I'm just a godfather, but I mean, I kind of don't think that's a negative thing.
I mean, I don't think it's a negative, because you got to.
You would check it.
I wouldn't check it, because I would have to find out. I would look at the demeanor, because for one, like my littlest one, I know he can get into some mess. So if somebody say, "Come here, you little motherfucker," of course,
Yeah.
that's something different. But they be like, "Devin," then I'd be like, I wouldn't say nothing, because he probably was doing, like, Kandy. She would insert herself, but she tried not as much insert herself. But me, I'm going all in with her son. I mean, so, because I'm not going to treat her son no different than I'm gonna treat my kids. I give her son the blues just as much as I give my kids. Just so happen hers is older and I don't have one in that niche. But when my kids was that age, they got the same problems too. I had a instance with my youngest daughter and older brother. My last two got the same mother, and they got an older brother. And we was together probably about 4 or 5 years. And, you know, I'm taking him to school. They living with me and stuff like that. So I went over there family house, and he did something, and I corrected him.
This was your actual biological son? Okay.
This is before I even had my two youngest. Okay. So I was just pretty much raising him. So one of the relatives had a problem with me saying something to the kid, to the little boy. Now, that in turn went and told, because he did something, I grabbed him, like, Tazai, you don't do that. So she went and told his uncle that I was roughing the kid up or whatever the case may be, which in turn put more stress and problems between me and her family. Now, this is, I took him to the hospital. I mean, I've done everything like he was my child. For the fact that she interjected herself and made it more than what it was, it hurt me because I have been here for this child. And it put the mother in a predicament because it's like, okay, that is my family, but I know how he is around him, and I know what he do for him, stuff like that. So I do think sometimes outside entities kind of hurt a situation more than actually helping it at times.
Yeah, family can ruin your family.
Yeah.
Facts.
Now, if I was a fly-by boyfriend, then it's something different. But we've been dealing with each other for years, and now I have two with her. So I definitely could go on a lot of co-parent stories with different children of mine, but we're not gonna make this a therapy session for me. So, tell us a little bit about your book.
So my mommy and daddy co-parent. It's about a conversation between me and my son, and he's pretty much asking what co-parenting is, why daddy can't live with us, explaining when we can be together.
Excuse me, I have to interrupt real quick. Just real quick.
Okay.
So my youngest daughter, she asked her mother, "How come me, you, daddy, and Miss Kandy can't live together?" I thought that was so funny at the time when she asked me that.
And then what'd you say?
She told her mother that.
Oh.
But when her mother told me, I said, we could. And then she said, how women do. But
Okay. So pretty much it explains co-parenting to the point where a child will understand it. And then
Ooh.
it also gets the conversation started, though, about if you want to explain to your child why you and their father or their mother aren't together, it kind of helps guide the conversation in that direction. It also, so I write in a standpoint where the children can understand it, but speaking to the parents subconsciously, like, you need to think about what you're doing in a situation, and like, it makes you think, like, dang, do I do that? Or maybe I shouldn't do that. So
what age range do you feel as though it would get a child interest? Like, did you have an age range like, okay, I want to kind of
the youngest I wanted to start it at was 4.
Okay.
And then the oldest, I would say probably about 10.
Okay. So just out of curiosity here, those questions, shouldn't we ask those questions when the child asks questions?
Yes.
Like if the child doesn't ask, like, let's say the child is 6, 7, and has never asked, where's mommy, where's daddy, would we still?
So do you mean like volunteer information for the kid?
Right.
Well, it's up to you. So being a child care, like being a teacher, we also teach different diversities in family. So this is just teaching them. This also can just be a lesson on different parenting. So we can teach them about, well, in childcare, you want to teach them about two-parent homes, single-family homes, co-parenting, nowadays, same-sex family homes, like just different things. So it's just another notch, I guess, in the diversity of families. So it just depends on if you want to have that conversation or not. But you can take it in the direction you want to.
And sometimes you have to teach the kids so the kids can teach the parents.
Yes, that is true.
That's true.
That is true, because my son used my words on me all the time.
Oh, I like that one.
Okay.
I run deep.
Hashtags.
I just a yes or no question. I'm sorry. Does co-parenting change if it is a same-sex household after you've been with the opposite sex and had a child?
I probably would say so, yeah. Because it would be more of a... Okay, let me ask. So you're saying if two females raising a child, but she has a child with a male?
So you and your, let's say you had a girlfriend. I'm not going to talk about your wives or whoever you had children with. But let's say that you and she had a child, and now she decides or has come to the realization that she prefers women over men, and now she has a female partner, and the female partner
I'm gonna let you finish.
has opinions and wants input on how the child is raised. Does that make a difference if it was opposite sex?
He's already been through that.
I've experienced that.
Oh.
So
Dang.
with when I say, yeah, I got a story for everything.
Yep.
But it didn't make it. It made a difference for me because my child was young at the time, and I didn't know if she saw that it would make a reflection of what she decided what she wanted to do. Like growing up, like if it was, I guess the right thing or this is what I want because mommy had one type of situation. But the problem I had with her friend was she always tried to be like she was the dad. Like, you know, I mean, I understand that's what she chose to be, identify as, but not the father. But, you know, as a male, it was like, I don't even know guys to try as hard as you trying right now. So that really bothered me. So, but from my daughter's aspect of it, she did say that she treated her good. And at the end of the day, that's all I ever want is my kids being treated good by, you know, somebody else. But it didn't make a difference because she was a female to a certain extent until, you know, I got over my way of thinking, my stubborn way of thinking.
Okay.
Go ahead. I know you got input on that.
I don't. I've never experienced. I've never experienced it.
No,
I just for me, I think, I take that whole "it takes a village to raise a child" to heart, because a village in and of itself encompasses a diverse group of people.
Right.
You can have your talls, your shorts, your skinnies, your bigs, your gays, your straights, but as long as everybody is in agreement that children are the future and the child should be taken care of, anybody who so ultimately, I feel like when it comes to children, it's not a democracy. It is a republic in where the parents, the biological parents, have the ultimate say. But those opinions can be swayed when the village is expressing opinions that can sometimes be seen as being better than what the parents think is best for the child, which is why it takes a village. So if there is a homosexual male who is now with the father or a homosexual female who is now with the mother, as long as their opinions align with yours to the degree of ensuring that your child is taken care of, then the sex should not ever matter, because the child's welfare is paramount to everyone who has an opinion on how the child is being raised.
I definitely agree with you on that, but then I think on the other hand, like I think the other parent that's not with the same sex would look at it like, would my child just see this as what they want to do? Well, my whole thing is like, I feel like
so co-parenting, before you get into that, co-parenting also is about education. So if you have a same-sex couple that is raising a child, There are studies that show that there is a less percentage of children raised in same-sex household who turn out to be homosexual versus heterosexual relationships where their kids turn out to be homosexual. That's just a fact. And then the second thing is there's too much education out there for anybody to believe that because children see it, it's going to be followed. You have children who see their parents doing drugs and grow up completely never wanting to do drugs. You have kids who grow up seeing their parents doing alcohol and never want to touch alcohol. It's about educating.
Right, but then you also have parents to drink with their kids, and then they wind up becoming doing the same thing, and then smoking with the kids the same thing. So I understand what you're saying. It can go both ways, without a doubt. It's just that sometimes this is just how people think. Granted, you have to educate yourself about different things, but let's be honest, a lot of people don't like to put in work to educate themselves about certain things.
That may be true, but I think when it comes to children, so that is probably one of the hardest subjects for parents to talk about, because when you have a heterosexual parent and then you have a child who could potentially be gay, they don't want to address it. It's not something that they do. But when you have the tools to educate and you don't, you're not being a participant in the village.
Okay, yeah, we might have to get on this one, 'cause I can get on that one too. But yeah, you definitely have a point, and you stirring up some some interesting topics that we're gonna have to touch on later on. So, would you write another book?
Oh, I have 3 more written.
Published or written?
Written. I'm gonna get them illustrated and published.
Okay. So how long?
I have idea for 12 books.
That you gonna stop at 12, or you have ideas?
I have. So
Okay,
what I
JK
want to
Rowling.
do is do a set of 12, turn to a cartoon series. When that's in the process, do another set of 12. So it's just like seasons, you know.
Got you. Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, we got a phone call.
All right.
All right.
Kandy Discussions, who's on the line?
Bird.
Hello.
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 Okay.
Oh, maybe it's on mute. I said maybe it is on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you said you're going to try to build into a cartoon series? I'm
Yes, that's what I want to do, because there's not really cartoons out that talks about children who are in co-parented homes, and there are a lot of people who co-parent. So,
sorry. They back.
oh, okay.
Kandy Discussions, who's on the line?
It's Johnny.
What's up, Johnny?
How you doing?
What's up? How y'all doing?
We doing good.
Hey,
We doing
everybody.
good. We trying to get you on here, busy man.
What's up?
Man, I'm coming. I'm telling you. I promise I'm going to be there. I promise. I'm working on it.
All right, so real quick, I know, and Kandy might have an idea, but you do the co-parenting thing? Kinda?
To a certain extent. I'm banned from the co-parenting thing.
What you mean by that?
That's me.
Because someone trying to Colin Kaepernick me. I'm being blackballed in a certain situation. I'm not allowed to say no names. But I believe co-parenting, everybody should sit at the table. Not necessarily nobody should have to kiss nobody. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Nobody should have to kiss nobody's ass. But at the end of the day, I'm their father. This is their mother. Your stepdad and your stepmom. We don't have to use them terminology. But, so if there's a decision that needs to be made, it depends. If it's a decision that's in stepdad's house, okay, that's your home. I understand that. But when it's something that doesn't really have anything to do with stepdad, or stepdad ain't got to come out his pockets for this situation, or this, that, and the other, or, you know, that's a decision that needs to be made between the two people that made this child in a respectful manner, you know? But if mom and dad don't get along, then you go to that neutral party, stepdad. But if stepdad not an adult, then you gotta go to court. You know, but it got to be adults here. Y'all not together no more. So now you got two neutral people. But that's still my child. So, and it has to be a respect level there, a level of respect. If I'm coming to your house to get my child, I'm being respectful.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your house. You be respectful to me. Or we need to go to a public location. You know, shorty, lady, ma'am, my ex-girlfriend, when you come to my wife's home to pick up my child, be respectful. Or we got to go to court. So it's a level of respect. Everything can work out, but it has to be some level of respect there. Okay? The child didn't ask for y'all to break up. The child didn't ask to be here. But it's a level of respect. And I always say this, I always tell my sons this. I'm your dad. No one else can give you an organ or blood. They can't give you a lung. They can't give you this. They can't give you that. So I'm your dad. So I ain't gonna say what I say go, but I'm your dad. I have your best interest in heart.
That is true.
This other person can just get up and leave when he wants. I'm your dad. I'm stuck. I'm not gonna say I'm stuck with you, but we gonna ride this out till one of us leaves this earth.
We all stuck to our kids. I mean, in a bad way. So I get what you're saying.
I want to touch on that whole use of the word respect, because I think we live in a very sensitive era. Coming to the house, not coming to the door, knocking on the door can be seen as disrespectful. I'm there to pick up the child. If we don't have a relationship, if we don't have a friendship, there's no need for me to communicate with you. I'm just here to pick up the child, make sure that child gets to their next.
And that's true. And that's true. But at the end of the day, the very first, okay, you know, you go out. The new person is brought into the situation. A simple Johnny, such and such, Johnny. I use the word Frank. Name Frank. Johnny Frank. Frank Johnny. Hey Frank, how you doing? You know, I'm such and such dad. You know, hey, not I've been picking up my kids from this house and I don't know who lived there. Because then you get that phone call, hey, Dad, Frank whooped me. Oh, now Johnny's up 100,000% riding 100,000 miles per hour trying to get to the house to confront Frank. No, so at the very beginning, when this new person is brought into the situation, everybody needs to meet each other. Everybody needs to, it's guidelines. Like Meek said, there's levels to this shit. There's levels. You can't hit my kid. My kid don't need to be hit. I'm not saying don't hit him, but I'm saying he don't need to be hit. I don't hit him. So therefore, you're not going to hit him. That needs to be told.
Johnny, hold on.
Yeah.
Thumper said he want to have something to say.
Okay, I just have a quick question. So if the step parent is doing everything for the child, let's say you work long hours and you just can't do as much for the child as far as time is concerned. He's checking the homework. He's cooking for him, washing his clothes, taking care of him, doing everything. The moment that the child steps out of line, he has to call you in order to discipline the child that's in his home?
No, he can discipline him, but he doesn't have to physically discipline him.
Oh, that's your job.
Physically. I'm touching on physically. So, like I said, my kid is in your house. I'm not saying, oh, call me to make him clean up his room. Nah, he clean up his room. If he don't want to clean up his room, then you say, all right, look, I'm going to call your dad. You know, my voice is thunder.
All right, so John.
You know,
so Johnny, let me ask you
it's almost like at school. You don't let teachers hit your kid, right?
I would.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would though.
If you want to act
if I got a report with that
my
teacher,
got to pop his ass, yeah.
I would if I got a report.
I think I would too, honestly.
So let me ask you as parents real quick, because we don't have that much time.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question real quick as parents. Do you have a problem with your child's other parent letting their spouse hit your child? John?
I have a big problem with it.
Okay, Donna?
Because
hold
you're
on,
mad.
Hold on, John.
Well, I'm sorry.
Donna?
I wouldn't want her to hit him.
Kandy?
I have boys, so it don't matter.
It doesn't matter to me. But real quick, Johnny, because we're running out of time. Why is
I know, real quick. If you're mad at me, you take it out on the kid.
That is a very singular situation.
Okay, but what about
Responsibility.
okay, hypothetically speaking, let's just say you have a good rapport with them. Like you would actually call them out, hey man, look, I'm at Fridays, want to catch a drink, it's around the corner from your house. Let's go with that.
Beat his ass. Because me and the other person got a good relationship. We good.
Okay.
If you gotta physically discipline them, it's warranted.
Okay.
It is what it is. But we got that relationship to do that.
All right.
If we don't have no relationship, you can't do that.
Respect.
So y'all be safe. I see y'all next week.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling.
Thank you.
Donna, why wouldn't you let
I mean, it just
her hit your
depends.
son?
It just really depends.
How old is your
I
son
wouldn't
again?
want. He just turned 4. I wouldn't want her to use a belt
Okay.
on him.
What
Like,
about a
it's-
pop on the butt just to get him
That's
to stop?
fine. Like, that's fine, but don't use no belt on him.
So if
nothing
she
like
told
that.
you, so if your son went back to your house and said such and such popped me, and you asked him, okay, what happened? And as the mother, you was just like, okay, I would have popped you for that too. Are you talking about those types of situations, or just a situation where you felt like she was being a little bit too aggressive because he wasn't doing something that children do?
So I'm talking about like the first situation I'm okay with. Like, if he did something that he deserved to be popped for, I'm all for it. Okay, cool. But if you're beating him because of something that children do, like let's say he is being too loud and you're watching TV on the couch and you can't hear, so you pop him because he's being too loud, I'm going to have a problem with that. Children are loud. You could have told him to go to his room. You could have told him to be quiet. It just depends on the situation. So I would definitely be asking questions.
Yeah. I think it's a difference between popping and beating.
Yes.
All right, so we got 4 minutes. We're going to do a 2-minute wrap up of what our Facebook friends say. Kandy did a post earlier saying what, Kandy?
Do you respect your baby mama and baby daddy?
All right. So KP said no.
A lot of people said no.
T said, I respect the fact that I had a kid with him and I can't change it.
That's cute.
Shell said, I respect Poison more. James said yes. Danielle said yes. Yolanda said all day. Nuts said, that's a tough one. I'll say this. I don't disrespect her, but mentally gymnastics that go in my head. Bruce said only one of them. Murray Jane says, tough question. I don't disrespect and I don't get out of my to respect. Oh, I guess go out of my way to respect. You want to say anything?
Al said, I do pray for her. J-Mo said, my youngest daughter, mom, hell no. I have zero respect for her. Damn.
Vincent said, if she was on fire, I wouldn't piss on her to save her life.
God damn. These people you make babies
Y'all
with.
kids are gonna see.
Man,
these
Johnny
posts
just
one day.
said, I give respect when respect is given. Ronald said yes. Keita said yep, when respect each other, even though we don't talk often, but when we do, it's respect all day.
I feel like everyone who respects the other parent, they have a good chance at either a co-parenting situation is good or there's hope for it to be good, because nothing positive is going to come from disrespect and negativity. Nothing.
This is a good one. You don't really hear this too much. Portia said yes. I love how he's parenting our child. You don't hear too many women saying that.
Right. That's good.
Yeah. But like Kandy said, most of them said no. But we're gonna tell the people how to get your book.
Oh, you can buy my book on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, or from my website, The Co-Parenting Series. You can also follow me on all social media, The Co-Parenting Series.
All right.
All right.
Want anybody to follow you?
No, it's dangerous.
Oh, okay. All right. Kandy.
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, KandyYELL.
You can follow me on Instagram at unrestricted_D. And you can also follow me here each and every Thursday on the Unrestricted Radio Show from 6 to 7 with my main man, Smokey.
Yes.
But most importantly, you can find me here each and every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 with my beautiful wife, Kandy. And I'll seem to be like our other co-host, Thumper, at this moment right now. And you can find me at the bookstore finding Donna's book,
Yes.
My Mommy and Daddy Co-Parent. I'm going to be looking for it because I want her to have it in the bookstores.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm working on it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's working on it.
See,
And
I
you'll be
push you
working
in
on
there?
her series. Is it going to be anything like that? What's that series I be watching every once in a while with Riley on it?
Riley. Oh, no.
It's not going to be like the
Boondocks.
Boondocks.
That's my show. But yeah.
What you mean I got to go over Daddy house?
So we have KKSE is a company, event planning company that me and
Yes.
Kandy have. We have what coming up, Kandy?
We have
We have a ski trip
We
February
still have 2 more
14th through the
spaces.
16th, and we also have.
You want to put it out there yet?
No, let's wait.
Okay.
Let's wait for
We'll
next
wait
week.
for that
But
one.
we only have 1 minute. But take the time to go vote for us. Kandy is nominated for Adult Conversation, of a show that she's on, and I am voted for
Best male personality, best female personality.
they just need somebody to fill in because I have no personality whatsoever. But we out of here, and we appreciate everybody. Take that time to go vote on ripradionetwork.com site. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Yeah, baby. Ooh, yeah, baby. You do a body good. Let's get physical. Work out these muscles. Do a little cardio till we pass out on the floor.